Hey, here I am in a very interesting place. Just over these mountain ridges right here in this valley, Wadi Kelt, or Ein Prat in Hebrew, is the Good Samaritan Road. We're only less than 10 miles. This river here runs down to Jericho. Jesus is teaching, and a teacher of the law stands up and says, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" Matthew chapter 22, Luke chapter 10. He wanted to test Jesus, and Jesus turns it around and says, "Hey, what does the law say?" And he tells him basically, love the Lord your God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself, love God, love others. And Jesus said, "You've answered correctly. Go and do like that, and you will live." And so the teacher of the law, though, is thinking, well, he wants to justify himself. I mean, I can love the guy that lives next door to me, or the person who's most like me, but what about that person who's not like me down the road? Is that my neighbor? You know, that's a bit of a hard pill to swallow. And so Jesus says, he tells him a parable. We know it as the parable of the Good Samaritan. Well, that parable was centered right around the ridge over here on the Good Samaritan Road. You see, there was a road from Jericho to Jerusalem. As the crow flies, it's not that far, but it's a big change in terrain from 1,200 feet below sea level to way above sea level up in the cool mountain air of Jerusalem. And it's windy, a great place for bandits. It was known to be dangerous. And he tells the story of the Good Samaritan. A priest come by, sees this man wounded who is like him, another Jew, and he leaves him and ignores him. A Levite, again, religious guys who knew better and knew the law that says you should love your neighbor. And he ignores them. And he keeps going, and then a Samaritan. A Samaritan was a half-breed, half-Jew, half-Gentile. They were looked down with disdain by the Jews because they had forsaken Yahweh and mixture of religions, and they were no longer purebreds. And so what would happen, the guy goes and he takes care of him, bandages him up, takes him to an inn and pays for a couple of days and says, "Hey, when I come back, if there's anything else, he goes above and beyond to help this guy who wasn't even like them. And then the question was, who was this guy's neighbor and who was the guy who helped him? Well, the man who helped him was his neighbor. And Jesus tells him that he answers correctly. He basically defines that we should do good to all people all around us. And that's the story of the Good Samaritan and God's intention behind the heart to love him and love others, love all people, take care of them and do good for them. Right there, you've got the St. George's Monastery. That guy's been around here for 1,600 years or so. Incredible.